As the troops that were ambushed in the Bloody Morning Scout retreated, the remaining troops of Johnson's army heard the gunfire and knew that it was getting closer. So they began to basically erect temporary earthworks, tip over wagons, tip over boats, to try to create some sort of a wall around their camp because they expected the French to be attacking them. And they did. The troops from the Bloody Morning Scout got into the fort, and the French commander one of his thoughts was that he wanted his men to be so close behind the retreating troops that they would be in the camp before Johnson's people recognized it. And it sort of worked like that, but it didn't. The engagement that ensued, the French regulars marched towards the fort several times. They were hit by cannon fire, musket fire. The Indians and the French Canadian troops mostly stayed in the woods, firing into the camp, which was not really effective for attack purposes. But the battle went on for most of the day, and with heavy casualties on both sides. And in the end, the French were repelled, and Johnson's army was successful.
I'm standing in front of the King Hendrik General William Johnson statue, the iconic statue for which Lake George Battlefield Park is well known. You'll see it on many postcards and so forth. And it honors the victory of the Battle of Lake George. Now, that battle was really important for two reasons. One, it was the only major British victory in 1755. It was a bad couple years for the Brits, and this was the only real major victory. The other piece of it was the only British soldier here was Eyre, who was the artilleryman and who designed Fort William Henry. All of the rest of the soldiers here were provincials. And that gave the provincials the idea that they had just defeated the French, and maybe they could, with additional training and thought about it, take on other European trained troops, leading into their thoughts about the potential of the Revolutionary War. A distant thought, but it was there. This statue was erected by the Society of Colonial Wars, as I said, in 1903, amidst a very large ceremony. And if you come down to the Lake George Battlefield Park Visitors Interpretive Center, you'll actually see a copy of the original program for this ceremony, as well as the medallion that was struck to honor this event. I want to point out who the two figures in the statue are. One is King Hendrik, and the sad part is King Hendrik, who was a 60-year-old sachem, Mohawk sachem, very well known, very well respected. He unfortunately was killed in the Bloody Morning Scout. Standing next to him is Sir William Johnson, and what's important about this site is it is supposedly the site of Johnson's tent prior to the Battle of Lake George, and that's based upon looking at the Blodgett map, where his tent is actually, his marquee is actually in this location.